Neuhaus. Ralphneuhaus.
And you are the rabbi of
Congregation Ohav Shalom. Ohavsholaum.
And where and when were you born?
So you need to know that. I was born in 1909 in Ostrowo, Ostrowo, which is province Posen in Germany.
Yes.
Posen, Posen.
Congregation Ohav Shalom opened in September 1940. It was founded as an immediate reaction to Kristallnacht, less than 2 years before. Its purpose was to include all Jews from the Reich, whose shuls went up in smoke. 2 years later, the congregants hired Rabbi Ralph Neuhaus. He would lead them for close to 50 years. Rabbi Neuhaus and his wife Betty, née Wolf, having just escaped the ravages of the Nazi persecution through a precarious journey via Spain and Portugal, arrived in America in 1941. Before the war, the Neuhauses were living in Berlin. Rabbi Neuhaus was leading a small congregation on the premises of the Friedenstemple Shul, a liberal Berlin congregation that some Ohav Shalom members attended. While the shul followed a liberal tradition, many of the members were Orthodox. Friedenstemple translates to Temple of Peace, or Beis Shalom. Rabbi Neuhaus could not attend classes at the Berlin Rabbinic Seminary, as his father did, because it was not fully operational under the Nazis. But he did study there in order to prepare to enter the rabbinate. His parents, Rabbi Dr. Leopold and Silly Neuhaus, were trapped in Europe, and he would not see them or know their fate for 7 years. Eventually, they reunited on these shores.
You arrived in what year?
In the United States in 1941. Would say finally we could live again after, as I told you, going through a lot of upset. We, of course, so many others, had never dreamt of coming to the United States, and we had distant relatives only, no close relatives. We were all for ourselves, so to speak. And we had a hard first year where usually, as it at that time was, the wife got employment first. The man didn't get any work. In terms of synagogue work, there was very little. I was, of course, interested to see whether I could get a rabbinical job. There existed a few people, I would say, a few lay people, who wanted to establish a congregation in Inwood, in this neighborhood.
Yes.
So they got together, first of all, in the old tradition that Jews getting together want to have a minyan. And they advertised, I think, in the Aufbau or whatever was the paper at that time, for a man who would be able, against a very small salary, which was so small that I couldn't even mention it, to be their spiritual leader. In other words, when I got the position in 42, I did everything, but today I don't anymore. That means I was a teacher, I was a cantor, I was a rabbi, everything. Because I had no money. And I had to be, as I say, content with a very small remuneration. And this is a way we built it up, because more and more people came together, more and more people moved up here. So that, and I would say in our best years, in the 50s and the early 60s, we had a Hebrew school of 230 children. And we had a faculty of teachers. We even built in 57 a new school building because we needed it.
His wife Betty hailed from Aurich and Lüneburg. Her father, Mr. Joseph Wolf, was a teacher there, and her brother was a former student of Rabbi Joseph Breuer in his Frankfurt yeshiva. Rabbi Breuer settled in Washington Heights and established his fastidiously Orthodox community there, and hired Betty's father to run the Hebrew school. Perhaps through these connections, Rabbi Neuhaus formed his relationship with Rabbi Breuer. Rabbi Neuhaus consulted Rabbi Breuer on matters of rabbinics and policy. Rabbi Breuer is also said to have ordained Rabbi Neuhaus when he arrived in New York. He held Rabbi Breuer in high esteem, but did not agree with him on everything. For one, Rabbi Neuhaus was an ardent Zionist, and made this a part of the shul's activism. The Breuer's community did not. Moreover, Rabbi Breuer was not in a hurry to build a shul. He believed a community needed a mikveh, or ritual bath, a Hebrew school, and then, only then, its own shul. Rabbi Neuhaus and his congregants had a different idea. They wanted an edifice. They would work hard to build it, and they would dedicate it in the name of all the destroyed shuls of Europe. This congregation saw themselves as a testament to surviving. The building would be their symbol. The Rebbitzin, Betty Neuhaus, attended the famed Ilba Teachers Seminary in Würzburg. She used her skills as a teacher in the Hebrew school at Ohav Shalom. Her father, Mr. Joseph Wolf, was a Jewish studies teacher at Yeshiva Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch in Washington Heights, and was running the Hebrew school there. The rabbis and teachers in the community at that time were responsible for raising the first generation of German Jewish children on American soil. Like rabbis and educators in many American communities, the old generation would learn the ways of the American youth and find a way to bridge a gap.
Because you see here, there are many things that come to you from young people where you have to explain. To give you a very simple example, I had recently weddings where the young people came and wanted a double ring ceremony, which is not known to us. Why? Because they saw it even, and it's true, they saw it even at some American Orthodox rabbis. They saw it. And one case was interesting to me, and I explored it, and in all, I would say, friendliness, and the rabbi admitted that he was under such pressure that he couldn't help himself, and he performed a double ring ceremony, which is strictly against Jewish law. But here you have a conflict, let's say. The American young Jewish couple, both born here, want this because they saw it. There you have to give them your point of view, which might mean two things. Either they follow you or they don't. In other words, the people might have said, well, Rabbi, then you cannot marry us because we insist on this. But if Orthodoxy would not have a point of view, like I told you, the point number 4 in our bylaw says that the congregation and all its services have to be conducted according to halacha, according to Jewish religious law. And this is irrevocable. If we would not have that point, we could have every kind of board every year, or every 2 years, or every 4 years, could have turned everything.
Ohav Shalom had an active youth movement, a junior minyan, and youth outings. Though not personally involved in the youth programs, Rabbi Neuhaus acquired a taste for baseball and was known to lead the youth outings to Yankee Stadium.
I cannot say whether we are more successful than others. That is not my business to evaluate.
Yes.
I only can say that we are happy with our own youth program.
Yeah.
because it is a continuous one.
Mm-hmm.
We have one weekday, a Tuesday night. We had for the high schoolers. We had a Thursday night for the junior high schoolers. We had a Onek Shabbat program. We had a lecture program, and
Rabbi Neuhaus protected both the orthodox tenets of the shul and the dignity of the members of varied levels of tradition. He commanded respect, and he cared for the people. He was a certified social worker and was heavily involved in community charities, specifically through the Gemilath Chesed of Greater New York, a local charity under his watch. He gave a sermon every week and was known to end every sermon with the same words, "Today and at all times." The rabbi remained with the congregation for 48 years, officiating at bar mitzvahs, marriages, and deaths, later growing old with the original members and leading services to a dwindling population. He passed away on June 19, 1990, and the shul conducted services through early 2006. He will be remembered by the children of his original flock as the rabbi of their youth. In his own words, his message will live in their hearts today and at all times.